Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
Today, during our first segment, we're going to discuss the spotted lanternfly. Not what it looks like when it's as its wings, but how it looks right now today and what you can do about it.
Pam called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and was having lawn problems. We have a 1, 2, 3 punch to knock it out. Hear all about it in our second segment.
We received a text on the Bloomers in the Garden hotline, and a listener asked for advice planting hydrangeas and had a problem getting grass to take. We'll get them growing in our third segment.
Jim called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and had some yellowing leaves on his tomato plants. Listen in during our fourth segment.
We received a touching and inspirational call concerning Memorial Day from our friend Professor Steve. Listen to his heartfelt call during our final segment.
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Fertilome's Triple Action contains 70% neem oil and 0.25% pyrethrins as a concentrate and ready to spray. It is an insecticide, fungicide, and miticide labeled to use on vegetables, fruits, nuts, herbs, spices, and ornamentals. This organic OMRI-listed product controls a wide variety of insect pests and diseases, including aphids, scale, spider mites, whiteflies, rust, leaf spot, and powdery mildew. This insecticide is an all-in-one bottle that will cure just about any problem you may run into throughout the year. Fertilome's Triple Action has been helping gardeners across the country for years. Best to apply in late evening and early morning hours. Mix 1 ounce, which is equivalent to 2 tablespoons in a gallon of water. The best part is Triple Action may be used up to the day of harvest. So the next time you are visiting your favorite garden center, ask for Fertilome's Triple Action and expect to have the best looking plants in the neighborhood.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Aaron is laughing. We talk about the spotted lanternfly, and it has 7 instar stages before it becomes that leopard-winged lingerie-looking leafhopper. Well, it's because it has those wings that cover over it, and it's leopard. It's like a leopard skin, and then it's got that little red patch.
Got it.
Yeah, it's like been married a long. I was married a long time.
They call it a muumuu. That's what that is.
Yeah, they call it a muumuu,
like a coverall.
So it got a leopard skin muumuu wings. And I just think it's kind of funny that they're called a leaf hopper. Yeah. Why our show is going in the opposite direction of where it's intended. But those of you out there that have seen them, you know what I'm talking about. But right now, they don't look like that. Right now, they don't look at it. They're at the no-see-em stage where they look like just a black bug scurrying around on your plants, and that they kind of look like a tick. They'll be black, and then when you really start to notice them, they'll have white spots. Right, Julio?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thanks. What they'll do is that they go through these transitions the closer we get to them getting to that leopard skin stage. Aaron, you're still laughing. I'm glad. Anyway,
producer.
Well, what else could you ask for on weekend morning radio?
I'll tell you.
What the stage is at now, you can spray them, and that you can control them because they still are going to eat some of your plants. They're not so much that it's the adult stage that you have to worry about because what they're doing is they start secreting that honeydew. But those little black ones that you see, and I've had most people talk about it being on their tomato plants and some of their fruit trees and things like that, where they'll see them.
Mm-hmm. I had a guy come in, it was on his grapes.
Grapes is one of the targeted crops that they are talking about. Like I'm talking about, New Jersey, Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture is where grapes are definitely a target, where they used to say it was only on the tree of heaven.
Right.
Which is an ugly
What
tree.
is it, weed, right?
We used to call it sumac, but sumac is different, but it looks a lot like sumac. And that they like that for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why. But
And where does the spotted lanternfly come from?
China.
Come on.
China.
You didn't do your Trump. We're going to have a whole year and a half
Of what?
of talking about, making fun of different candidates for going out there. Anyway, so you can control it in this stage by spraying it. And that we've got good news. We've got good news because you can spray it with organics and it will control it. First one that we're going to talk about is that we're going to talk about Bug Blaster Plus. It's a liquid, and that absolutely will control it. Works great. Another one, spinosad. Spinosad you can find in Fertilome's line. And let me back up. We used to promote Captain Jack from Bonide. But I found that Bonide really messed up in their marketing because it was so successful that now all of a sudden they're calling everything Captain Jack. Captain Jack weed killer, Captain Jack this, Captain Jack that, Captain Jack thing. So you
confusing.
I have a hard time, recommending the Captain Jack spinosad from make sure you don't get the weed because I can hear it. It's like, I sprayed this stuff. It said it controls weeds too. And it's not spinosad. It's just that they're bastardizing the name. Am I allowed to say that, Sam?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, thank you. Where it's it's a stupid marketing ploy. Sorry, Bonnie, but you aren't a sponsor anymore either. Sorry. Anyway, spinosad, it actually was an insecticide that was found in a distillery, and they found that this stuff worked great. And the most beautiful part of it is that it's not resistant. Like some insects become resistant to insecticides, and spinosad is one that they absolutely don't. The other organic, triple action, which if you're watching on YouTube, our YouTube channel, you can see me holding it up in my hand, and that it's a combination of pyrethrin and neem oil.
Nice.
Now, those of you who love neem oil and use it for your houseplants, I would get this product, Triple Action. And again, they call it Triple Action because neem will prevent some diseases. So it will control mites. And that, again, with the pyrethrin, that the pyrethrin is an organic contact insecticide. Works great. But sunlight degrades it. So this is something where you'd need to apply, every 7 to 10 days, something like that. And again, you want to apply it, and this is how. You spray your plant and to the point where it drips off a little bit, and then you're done. You want to get underneath your leaves because a lot of times they'll hide.
Yeah.
And the warmer it is, you'll have more action. The insects will be on the surface of the plant. I don't care if this is spotted lanternfly or say aphids or anything. They really want to be out when it's warm. So if it's cool, make sure you get under the leaves because that's kind of where they're huddling, hunker down to get some heat.
There you go.
But again, triple action, it's a great formulation for organics because they are it just really works really well. That would probably be my go-to first. And again, it's called Fertilome Triple Action, and it's a combination of pyrethrin with neem oil. And it's an awesome product. It's just smart.
Yeah.
Just smart. Don't
Smart
you think,
science,
Julio?
yeah.
Science.
Yeah.
It's all about the science.
It is.
And again, great product, but again, it's a contact. The problem is pyrethrin, and those of you who have listened to us for some time, you know that when we say thrins, right? We say thrins. It's that type of active ingredient in that product is a thrin. It's because that's a copy of the organic version, and the organic one is in triple action. Some of the others that we're going to talk a little bit about later about something that controls grubs is a thrin, but it's inorganic. So we'll explain that later in the show. One of the other things, Julio, this is not organic, but it is both recommended by the Pennsylvania and New Jersey Departments of Agriculture as using a drench. A drench is not organic, but the way that, so you can't use it on your tomato plants like you could use triple action, and that what this works on is like, for instance, the tree of heaven. If you have the tree of heaven, or if you have any types of non-fruit bearing crops, you can use it on any of the trees and shrubs. But a drench is used, that's the thing. If you follow the directions like you're supposed to, this product may stay on the market for a long time. But if you're like dummies who spray it up in the tops of the trees because they don't absorb it that way, and then it kills bees. It's very toxic to bees. But if you use it correctly, it is not.
Yes.
We've cited before, there's studies done, and it was particularly on clover, to where there is no transference of the insecticide to the pollen, even though it's a systemic, and that the bees were fine. But you have to use it correctly. It's a drench. It's not a spray.
Yeah.
Julio?
Yes.
Take it away. What's a drench?
A drench is when you when you have a concentrate. We're talking about tree and shrub concentrate here, and it's a systemic. And a systemic means that you're going to pour this into water, and into a gallon of water. Let's say, for instance, and let's say two tablespoons or so, and then you're going to drench it on the actual soil around the plant, and it's going to be absorbed by the root systems.
Right. So it works like an antibiotic.
That's right.
It makes the plant poisonous to spotted lanternfly. So when it goes to take a bite, it kills it. And that's what you want. Now, Julio, you did mention a teaspoon. On most concentrates, that would be the right measurement. But particularly on this product, this will be, let's see, in a gallon of water, you're looking at anywhere from 8 to 30 ounces.
Wow, that's quite
So you're using a lot. You don't skimp with this one. Again, it's trees and shrubs, and it goes by the actual size of the plant. So read your instruction. I don't care if you're using the most tame organic insecticide, herbicide, what have you. Read the instructions. Some of it may get boring. Don't get too comfortable because you may fall asleep. But because of EPA guidelines, they have to make these gigantic labels so it covers every scenario. So, it's basically, CYA.
CYA?
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay.
Anyway, so again, a 1-2 punch would be the ideal method, and especially when they're in this no-see-em stage where whether they're in their black stage with white spots or they are turning white, black, and red, or they end up being then they are red with white spots, and then they start transforming into that winged variety that we're all familiar, the lingerie stage.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
again, get after them now.
Yeah.
Get after them now.
So you're saying a 1-2 punch, spinosad and
The drench.
drench,
And again, that is on non-edible
non-edibles. Yeah.
plants. So again, it's using the drench, like for instance, in your landscape, if you have them on clematis or you have them on any, or your perennials, use the drench and then spray.
Spray it.
And then spray. And something, you should use a drench anyway because it controls so many different insects and it lasts for so long.
Yeah, like a year.
Can't be washed off from water like the
right.
pyrethrin. It doesn't degrade from sunlight. Again, I love a systemic product mostly because of that reason. I can put it on and again, I don't have to babysit it. I don't have to go out and spray. Oh my gosh, I forgot to spray it. The insects are back on it. The eggs hatched, and now I've got that next generation feeding on my plant. And then I go back and tell Julio that stuff doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's like yes, it did work. It just you didn't put it on every 7 to 10 days like you needed to, and because you have generations. Now, not so much with spotted lanternfly, but with other insects, you have different stages where you have eggs and you have nymphs, which are like an instar stage, and then you have adults. So you have, 3 generations on one plant. You may kill the existing with a contact organic spray. You may kill the existing adults and maybe some of the nymphs, but the eggs hatch and then they start feeding all over again. It's almost like you didn't do anything.
Wow.
So you've got to do at least 3 applications, 7 to 10 days apart, and that's especially with organics. Okay. Again, I love the triple action because it has both neem and it has the pyrethrin, and the neem will control the disease issue as well. So
2 things in one.
there you go. There you go.
Beautiful.
All right. Give us a call on the hotline
Yes.
if you have seen spotted lanternfly in any of those stages, the black stage or the black stage with the white. I'd love to hear it. So again, it's prevalent in our listening area.
It is,
and it's going out to. I mean, I think they're hitting in Michigan at this point.
Oh yes.
It's unbelievable.
It's
Unbelievable. All right, we'll be right back right after this message. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Coast of Maine's Organic Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the best soil for raised bed gardens, planter boxes, and container gardens. It grows amazing vegetables. It is made with a mixture of manure compost, worm castings, lobster and kelp meal, mycorrhiza, green sand, and biochar. It's ready to use straight out of the bag with no need for additional components or tilling. If you love growing fresh and hearty vegetables, herbs, and flowers, Coast of Maine's Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the perfect choice for you. At Coast of Maine, we believe in growing organically and buying locally. Castine Organic Raised Bed Mix can be found at these fine stores.
Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey. Espen Shades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania.
Is she gone?
Nope, she's still standing there.
What is she doing?
I think she's watching the grass grow.
That's our job.
I know, right? She's watching the grass grow, the flowers grow. Ooh, look, the trees are growing.
Can't say as I blame her. Remember where she bought all this stuff?
Duh, bought us there too.
Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Find us online at bloomers.com.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Pam called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and is having lawn problems. We want you to listen to her call.
Hi, it's Pam in Philadelphia in Mount Airy, and I had a question. I noticed on my lawn in the front, it's been all these brown spots, or actually, no, something has eaten my grass, in other words, on a little section. And I don't know if it's grubs. Should I buy something now and put it down? Or, I mean, am I to assume it's grubs that are eating the roots of my grass? Let me know what I should put down before I bought something for grubs, but I don't know if that's what the problem is. That's my question. I just don't know what to put down. That's the problem. I'd appreciate a call, and thank you for your service there. You guys are wonderful with all the tips that you give. I listen to you every Saturday morning, so I'll wait for your call. Thank you. Have a nice afternoon. It's Friday afternoon, about a little after 3. Bye now.
Oh, Pam, that was wonderful.
Thank you very much. Nice things.
Beautiful.
Julio, you talked to Pam, right?
Yeah, I did talk to Pam. What a wonderful time we had. Anyway, she bought, like she said, she didn't understand what she had. I think that maybe she jumped the gun by buying her grub control, but, we don't know.
Yes and no.
Yes and no, yeah. So we don't know really, and but we're going to talk about that now and give you some tips on that.
Yeah, the thing is we couldn't see it.
Yeah,
that's a
problem.
And that's some of the problems with doing a gardening show on the radio. Mm-hmm. We can't always see the problem. Sometimes we get pictures, which is a big help. Mm-hmm. But I think I can see what she did again from just some of our customers have said over the last couple of weeks. I think she may have she may have a grub problem, but it's not likely to be showing up this early. But we can help that too. I think that she may either have chinch bugs, but chinch bugs isn't going to make it dead in one area. It generally, they're sucking insects, and it makes it more of a yellowish color. And I'd be curious if she has birds feeding in that area. If she has birds feeding on her lawn, she probably has insect problems, and it's surface insect. But just hang on. It is a big possibility she has a disease problem. If I was a betting man, I would bet that she has a disease issue more so than an insect issue. But like we tell our customers and our listeners, it's like, look, you need to be preventative on almost everything. And that if you can do kill two birds with one stone, here's what we've got. First, grubs aren't going to happen until the soil temperatures are warm, and that it's just not that temperature right now. They are underground. They may be underground. You may dig them up. Like a week or two ago, we had somebody who was digging up in their garden. They found them in their garden. In your lawn, if you use imidacloprid, okay, and that this is in a lot of the grub controls, like the grub control she bought, and you talked to her, and that you told her to return it.
Yeah.
Because it was imidacloprid only. And that what that does is like, okay, great. It protects you against grubs. But What about chinch bugs? What about some of the other insects that feed on the surface? It doesn't do anything for them. Plus, it takes a while to work. Now, we were in our previous segment, we talked about thrins, right? Pyrethrin, and that the man-made inorganic version that makes it last longer are what we call on this show other thrins. Imidacloprid is often mixed with lambda solutrin, and that is your 1-2. You've got the best shot at controlling chinch bugs and grubs in one application, and that's what she should use. And Julio, I think that's what you told her, the same thing. And that, again, we have products at Bloomers. Go to your local garden center. They will have that combination. You're going to ask for, again, it's imidacloprid and lambda solutrin. You can even ask for, again, you can use our terminology, a thrin, and you can even look on the labels. And imidacloprid is spelt just like it sounds. And that, again, any of the thrins, because there's a couple, there's deltamethrin, thrin, which is also another type of pyrethrin, a inorganic version of pyrethrin. It's all about its longevity. It's all about its longevity and that it doesn't break down with sunlight. 2 for 1. That's what you're trying to do. 1 application, 2 active ingredients. The third thing is the disease issues. Black spot, it could be black spot that she has, brown patch, dollar spot. All of those are prevalent during this time of the year. A real long shot, she could have snow mold. And again, the product that we'd like her to use is called, it's F-Stop, as in Frank. Okay, F-Stop. And it is a fertilome product, and it will control powdery mildew, black spot, rust, blight, scab, brown rot, leaf spot, brown patch, dollar spot, red thread, summer patch, melting out, and others. You can use it on roses. You can use it on all ornamental shrubs, berry plants, fruit plants. It can be used on vegetables. And again, it's a disease control. So what I want you to do, Pam, is take that grub and insect control combination in the one bag, imidacloprid, okay, and the lambda solutrin, and that I want you to put that down. And then you're basically watering it in with the F-Stop, and you want to use what's called, let's say it's a ready-to-spray, okay? In the trade, it's called RTS. Yeah, we're cool. Yeah. Anyway, what that means is ready to spray, and it's a kind of product where you hook it up onto your hose, and it's already to go, and then it's already mixing, and you don't have to measure it and be the mad scientist with a little bit in your sprayer, and then put water in, or just do that other thing that you put on your hose. You just spray and go. Boom. And when you run out, you stop, and if you need more, you put another one on, and you just finish up.
That's right.
And again, it can be stored right in that container, and when you need it, it's there. Yeah. It's there. You just don't want to let it freeze over the winter. But again, it can be used on all of those different crops. So again, you're using it for your lawn today, but you may have issues in your garden, or you may have, say, lilacs that have powdery mildew, or like I had a peonies, Ito peonies, has powdery mildew.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I just get out my hose and my sprayer and
hit it.
There we go.
That's it.
So again, I hope that helps. And again, the 2 products, and again, there are lawn products by a lot of different companies that have imidacloprid and lambda solutrin right in the same bag. That's the granule we'll put down, and I'd like it to use Fertilome F-Stop, okay, and that's the disease control.
Boy, that's great. She's going to love that because she didn't know what to do. You know?
Cleans it right up.
Yeah.
Yep, covers all your bases. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. There you go, Pam.
All right. We'll be right back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Do you think you have insects eating away your nice, beautiful lawn? Fertilum's Bug Blaster Plus Above and Below is the product for you. Fertilum's Bug Blaster Plus Above and Below not only controls chinch bugs, which is a surface-feeding insect, but also controls grubs, which is a subsurface feeding insect. It does it all, guaranteed. When most homeowners see their lawn turning brown in the summer, they think grubs, damage from the larva, a Japanese beetle. But in many cases, it could be chinch bugs. Chinch bugs are hard to see because they are so small and you'd need to get down on your hands and knees to see them. If you misdiagnose your problem, Fertilum's Bug Blaster Plus Above and Below has you covered. The product will control both chinch bugs and grubs. This summer, control your pest problems with Fertilum's Bug Blaster Plus Above and Below. It also may be used in flower beds, on landscape ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Fertilum's Bug Blaster Plus Above and Below will also control crane fly larvae, ants, mole crickets, sod webworms, bill bugs, and many more. Your property will be pest-free with Fertilum's Bug Blaster Plus Above and Below. So next time you're visiting your favorite garden center, ask for Fertilum's Bug Blaster Plus Above and Below and expect to have the best-looking lawn and landscape in the neighborhood.
If you're like me, then you absolutely love birds. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center has you covered. They're dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds of all sorts. Want to bring more birds to your yard? Then you got to see this place. Bloomers has a huge flock of feeders, birdhouses, birdseed, and much, much more. Want to feed the birds and not the squirrels? They have this absolutely cool bronze bird feeder that will drive those sneaky squirrels nuts. They'll be moving to the next door neighbor in no time. OMG. Bloomers have these absolutely adorable birdhouses that will turn your yard into the perfect bird B&B. They carry all types of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. Bloomer stocks, Lyric, Coles, CNS, Pine Tree Farms, and much, much more that will keep those beautiful birds coming back for more. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County. For more information and directions, check them out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center, you got to see this place.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Hey, welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. A listener texted the Bloomers in the Garden hotline, and you can too, and has a concern about his soil and growing hydrangeas, and is also having problems growing grass. Here's his text.
I live in Woodland Park, New Jersey. We are near the Passaic River, and the soil seems to be brown and kind of loose, almost sandy. I'm about to plant endless summer hydrangeas. Do I need to do anything special to get them to live? Also, every year I try to grow grass using 4-way seed, and I water it twice every day. It grows nicely. But the next year, all the grass I grew is dead. What should I be doing? Ooh.
Does he have zoysia?
Oh, I don't think so.
No, I'm kidding, Julio. Zoysia you have to grow from plugs. not from seed. All right. So first of all, I want you to get in your car and go to Richfield Farms, 1139 Van Houten Avenue in Clifton, New Jersey, and tell them that Bloomers in the Garden sent you. Ask for Will or Mary. Again, that's Richfield Farms, Van Houten Avenue in Clifton. And why? Because I grew up right there. And that soil is historically known as some of the richest farmland anywhere. My great-grandfather immigrated from Holland and started his farming that soil. And Richfield Farm started there. Over 100 years later is now a garden and farm market. Gosh, I wouldn't want to sell vegetables anymore.
Yeah.
Used to. But Richfield Farm still does. And they still grow a lot of their crops right there. And listen, anytime that you are in such luxury, I mean, wherever Aaron lives, there's, and those of you who are listening from the Philadelphia area know that he's close to Marlton. And that soil's clay. It's awful. It's awful. You're lucky you have a sandy loam, which is perfect for growing almost anything. My family grew root crops like carrots and beets and radishes and all of those types of things. And that soil is really good, and you should feel very fortunate that you have that soil that you can grow into. Now, I think you're probably near Garrett Mountain. Now, if you're up on the Garrett Mountain, that's mostly shale. Sorry. But anytime you plant, you want to use a soil amendment that gives organic matter. You know, some people, do you have any compost? Do you have compost? What we recommend is bumper crop. Bumper crop is a mix of peat and bark fines, and it has manure, it has lobster shells, it has composted lobster shells. It is the best there is. And every plant that goes out of Bloomers, we want people to use that because that will improve the amount of moisture and drainage that their plants have. And it won't kill their plants because they're just digging it into the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt. Shameful.
Yeah, it is.
People use the word dirt. Dirt's what you sweep under the rug. Anyway. And because what happens is that it layers and all of a sudden never grows out of that hole. When you create a nice environment, and this is how you plant, you dig the hole twice the size of the root mass, then you add half bumper crop and half the soil that you took out of the hole, and you mix that all together, okay? And then you put your plant, so your plant is slightly raised from its original soil line. So instead of it being exactly level with the existing soil, I want it slightly raised because it will settle for a little bit. You want to pack the rest of that soil mixture all around the roots on the side, real good. And then you're going to want to feed it and then water it. And you will have the best plant you've ever had.
Now, you forgot one ingredient there.
Oh, no. Important. Come on, Julio. He likes to show me up all the time.
Mycorrhiza. That bumper crop has mycorrhiza.
That's right. You better explain what that is.
It's a fungi which is in the ingredients there, and it's going to come into the roots. It's going to attach to root systems, and it's going to grow these little fibrous roots within those root systems. So to make the plant be able to take up all those nutrients,
right,
and the water that you're adding to it.
All right, and I'll translate what Julio just said. It's a symbiotic relationship between that fungus and the root of your plant where it creates a way. Think of mycorrhiza as a little mouth that goes and eats the elements in the soil and transfers it into the root mass. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Beautiful.
And that's right. Bumper crop has it. And again, use any of the fertilizers. Try to just get the Espoma brand because they have mycorrhiza in it as well, and they're all organic, release slow. It's a great thing. Mm. Your grass. Did you use annual ryegrass in that mixture? You called it a four mixture. What was it called, Julio? A four-way.
Four-way.
Four-way generally means to me it's 4 different types of seed. Now, you probably had bluegrass, ryegrass, perennial rye, you should have, and a type of fescue. My I'm just wondering if there was annual rye in there, because some mixes have annual rye and they only last one season. You're watering too much. Watering twice a day is excessive, ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to do that. Mimic a deep soaking rain. Let it go a couple days. You know, you can let the grass dry out a little bit. If during the early stages when you're just getting it to come up, yeah, you got to keep it moist, but not wet, moist. You may have had a disease problem that developed because of the amount of water that you're using. If you have a sprinkler system, make sure that you adjust that zone so that it's not overwatering it. Plus, was that in shade? If that was in shade, it's even worse because it can even have a worse disease problem. Again, you want to train the grass roots to grow deep. If you're watering every day, and you said twice a day, which is ridiculous, you're training your grass to the roots of your grass to stay on the surface of the soil so they're always subject to drought. You want to water more at one time and less often, and make sure you use a starter fertilizer when seeding. It's basically baby food for your plants. And when you're starting seed, that's what you got. Nourish them early so they get firmly established. Anything else to add, Julio?
Yeah, he should check his pH level too.
That's true. And both spots. If your pH is going to be more acidic, your hydrangea is going to be blue. If it's more alkaline, it's going to be pink. So what color do you want? Go to Richfield Farms. They will give you all of this information. We'll be right back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit Espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Jim called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and was having tomato problems. Listen to what Jim had to say.
Hi, my name is Jim, and I got my tomatoes in. They're celebrity tomatoes. I only have 8, and 2 toward the front of the garden where it doesn't get as much sun. The leaves there's just 2 tomato plants out of the 8 that there's a couple of them that the leaves are turning like a golden color. Not a lot. And the golden color is on the end of the leaf. So there's two tomato plants where I got just a few golden leaves on these tomatoes. So can you call me back, let me know what I'm going to be on, and I'll listen for sure. Tomatoes in around the 9th and the 10th of May. I mean, the rest of them are doing good. They look good, but there's just a couple of golden leaves on the end of 2 tomato plants. Can you tell me what that's all about? Thank you. Have a good day. I'll be listening on Sunday. Thank you.
Julio.
Oh.
Hey, it's been cold.
It has been cold.
It's been cold. You know, we had a couple warm days this week.
That's it.
But it's been on the cold
Dropped.
side.
Yeah.
So tomatoes love it hot.
Hot. That's the thing, too. Yeah.
So you talk with Jim, right?
I did talk to Jim, yeah. And one of the first things I always say to him, is about the soil. What did you add to the soil? Have you checked the pH of the soil, things like that, and that's where I started.
And
he hasn't checked his pH, but, I let him know that he needs.
Did you add any organic matter in the soil before
he
planted?
did. He did just cow manure.
Cow manure?
Yeah.
All right, composted cow manure.
compost cow manure.
It's okay.
It's
but
okay, yeah. I told him about bumper crop.
The bumper crop has everything, including the kitchen sink in it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Magic Cow.
Magic Cow, yep.
Magic
I told
Cow.
him about Magic Cow.
And again, folks, Magic Cow is actually, you'd think that it's for the lawn, but it actually is an excellent way to prevent blossom end rot on tomatoes because it has that calcium in it that they're starving for. How about watering? Is it keeping them wet?
Yeah, that's another. It's a community, place that he goes to.
Well, those things usually go dry unless
Yeah, that's-
somebody puts a sprinkler on everybody's plot.
Yeah, and I said you got to keep an eye on that watering situation.
Dry.
Yeah.
I mean, tomatoes like it dry.
Yeah, like it dry. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
they can wilt a little bit
Yeah.
before you water them, and then they'll be all right.
Yeah.
So not shaded if it's in a
shaded.
community garden. And he said it was only a couple of plants.
Yeah, a couple leaves.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, he said a couple leaves. That's not much.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just and again, feed them.
Feed 'em,
Feed
yeah.
them. Feed them. Feed them. Tomatoes are pigs. They will eat a lot of food. Again, I would go with organics. Sticking with a Spoma, tomato tone would be an excellent choice. You can sneak over some 20-20-20 water soluble. That would really give them a punch. You'll have the greenest tomatoes, And I'm talking about the plants, not the fruit. Again, it seems like you're doing everything right.
Yeah, he's doing everything.
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I think he's just concerned about a couple leaves.
Okay, Jim, give us a text or call back and let us know how they're doing in a few weeks. Let us know once we tip over to that where we're getting 80 degrees on a regular basis, because they'll be taking off at that point. All right, we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor organic potting soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is available at these local retailers.
Staffers of Kissel Hill Home and Garden Store, Rorastown, Pennsylvania. Ashcombe Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania.
Wanting to up your game in the vegetable garden? With 90 years of organic gardening experience, the Espoma Company has you covered. Espoma Organic Garden Tone is not your average garden variety fertilizer. Garden Tone is especially blended for organic vegetable gardens. Its all-natural formula contains Biotone, a blend of organic ingredients that supplies essential nutrients for strong, healthy plants and mouth-watering vegetables. Its slow-release formula provides continuous feeding. The Biotone contained in Garden Tone is a combination of organic ingredients and beneficial microbes to help roots grow deeper and faster for bigger, more bountiful harvests. Garden Tone is simple to use and safe for people, pets, and the planet. No harmful chemicals or synthetic fertilizers are ever added. You can find Garden Tone at fine garden centers. Visit espoma.com to find a retailer near you. Garden Tone from Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, we received a very timely call on the Bloomers in the Garden hotline from our friend, Professor Steve. Many of you know that he's a special friend of Bloomers, the store, as well as the radio show. Steve put it in perspective for what this weekend is all about. Here's what he had to say.
Good morning, Len and Julio. This is Professor Steven. I'm calling my favorite show to talk about honoring the men and women who sacrificed their lives and how we can remember them in our thoughts, not only on this holiday, but all throughout the year. A nice way to do it in the garden, we can do this, is dedicate a tree or planting or a section of the garden for our fallen heroes, and have a special place in the garden where you can sit and reflect on the meaning of the day and to fly the flag proudly. I also would like to thank Bloomers for their policy of giving veterans a 20% discount all year. Your commitment with regard to veterans is much appreciated. All right. For all the people who have deep memories, God bless you, and thank Bloomers and you guys, of course, for all our fallen heroes. And thank you very much. See you in the garden.
Gets me choked up.
Yep, it does.
You know, it really does. The special lady in my life, Danielle, and I were talking the other day about how Memorial Day is kind of a forgotten holiday. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the young folks in our country don't really know what it is, other than it was a day off from school, or it was
a barbecue,
maybe barbecue. And what he suggested, planting a tree or planting a garden or planting plants, period, a plant, as a memorial to, like this, he's talking about Veterans Day, but a loved one that passed, or the birth of one of your children, or something like that. A lot of that is not done. I mean, it's something that should be considered.
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes here for the show, consider the luxury that we have to live in a country that its citizens are free to pursue life as they seem fit. Mm-hmm. Politicians didn't do that.
No, they didn't. Soldiers
did that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to run through, and I'm going to run over time. Revolutionary War, the death toll was 6,800. Mm-hmm. War of 1812, that there were 15,000 Americans died as a result of the war. But only, and again, we think about war and fighting, but it's not only that, but it's also disease that creeps in, and we'll see that in coming up. Mexican-American War, 1,700 troops were killed. Civil War, I think we paid for the Civil War. 650,000 Americans dead. Wow. In World War I, we rallied 4.73 million men went to fight. And of those, 53,000 fell to enemy, but another 63,000 died because of diseases like the Spanish flu. Now, we've talked about in recent history COVID and the Spanish flu. There you get an idea of it, that over 10,000 more men died in World War I than of actual on the battlefield. World War II. It, according to, 407,000. Korean War, 36,000. 58,000 during Vietnam. Gulf War, there were almost 700,000 troops in service and deployed. Only 383 were killed. That, to me, is an amazing number.
Yeah, it is.
Again, wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, of those, 5,364 died in action, and another 1,500 died in what they call non-hostile incidents, which basically is disease. Fly that flag proudly.
Yes.
Be proud of your country. Be proud of the men and women that fought for it.
Especially some of those are very young men.
That's right. They need us more than ever.
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Is she gone?
Nope, she's still standing there.
What is she doing?
I think she's watching the grass grow.
That's our job.
I know, right? She's watching the grass grow, the flowers grow. Ooh, look, the trees are growing.
Can't say as I blame her. Remember where she bought all this stuff?
Duh, bought us there too.
Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Find us online at bloomers.com.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, happy Memorial Day to everybody. Thank you, all you veterans out there, and the veterans' families that had to endure while they were away. Thank you, producer extraordinaire Sam. Thank you. We're going to see you next week, the same time, right here in the garden.
See you in the garden.